Continuing with our business section tonight, we shall pick up from where we left off. Our one-on-one interview with the sitting German ambassador to the Philippines, His Excellency, Ambassador Gordon Kricke. Thank you so much for kindly waiting, Mr. Ambassador. Shifting now to education and sports, are there educational exchange programs between Germany and the Philippines?
Yes, of course, that is something which is very important for us, I think, both for the Philippines and for Germany, because we both value very much education. It's clear that education and vocational training is really a key factor for an economy and society. So we work together in those areas, university education, but also professional training, which is very important. For example, we have 41 partnerships between universities, German universities and Philippine universities, not only in Metro Manila, but also in the provinces. There are currently, I don't know exactly how many, but I think about 300 Philippine students in Germany. It could be more. So I would like also to raise the attention of Filipinos of Germany as a destination to study for education. There are so many education and university programs in English, so it's relatively easy for foreigners, and it's excellent education. We have about 300 Philippine students receive annually support, mostly via the Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst, the German academic exchange service, and it works quite well.
Can you please tell us about any sort of sports program between our two countries?
Yes, we have that as well, together with our head of the cultural section. I just visited the Filipino Football Association. Well, of course, Germans and Filipinos are very similar, that they both like very much sports. In Germany, it's football more than any other sports. Here, I think football is also gaining more interest in, and there's so many football players who are of mixed origin, Filipino, Germans, and here playing here in the Philippines. And I think that's very good, that's perfect. And in principle, we're open to even more cooperation. We have some programs, and in the past, I think even a national trainer was supported. The program was supported by German national trainer, I think. So yes, that is something which is very positive in our bilateral relationship.
Earlier, you mentioned about some exciting places here in the Philippines. Would you mind mentioning where you've been to?
Fortunately, my first visit to a province was in Palawan, and Palawan it's fantastic. There is a lot of nature, and I think it's so important to protect the nature reserves because it's such a beautiful and important treasure also for the future. I was very impressed about the beauty of Palawan, and about well, you can do so many things. There are many birds, for example, to watch, and I like diving. So I like scuba diving, which I did in Palawan, but also recently in Negros, close to the Apo Islands. Fantastic, I like that, and I think it's very important, very positive that this is more and more protected here in the Philippines, because this is, in my view, something which deserves protection. Also, the fight against illegal trade in species, which is terrible to other countries. For example, seahorses. It's really And it is so impressive what you have here in the Philippines underwater. Well, not only underwater, of course, but for me, I was very much impressed when I did scuba diving here, and that is also of high economic value, also for the future tourism. So there could be even more tourists from Germany, and I'm quite sure that there will be in the future.
Having mentioned that, Mr. Ambassador, kindly tell us, how can we further promote travel and tourism between the Philippines and Germany?
Yeah. Well, of course, tourism is an important sector of the economy here in the Philippines, but also in Germany. Germany is in Europe one of the major tourist destinations, and has so many things to offer. The diversity is really impressive between the different provinces, and when they have the capital, which is so fascinating, not only for young people but for each and everybody, and then a lot of very beautiful landscapes and tradition in the countryside. And it's the same here, especially for nature lovers in the Philippines. And well, in Germany we have many institutions who are dealing with tourism and who would also be, in principle, I'm quite sure, open to an intensified cooperation with institutions here in the Philippines. We have a lot of German tourists here, but there's only we can only guess, or probably we don't know how many there are. But because they don't have to register, of course, as tourists. So, but it's growing, and maybe you know that Germany is one of the Germans like to travel. So you will find them everywhere, and the Philippines is far away, but there's still so many people coming from Germany to the Philippines to travel and to enjoy, especially the nature here. Well, and also the friendliness of the people. So, and the fact that it's relatively easy to communicate in English, also for Germans, it makes it also attractive.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for this opportunity to have you as guest here in our show. Before we end, would you have any message to the Filipino viewers, especially those who are interested to visit Germany?
Yeah, yes, of course. Well, we would be so happy to have more visitors from the Philippines to Germany and to experience German culture, German traditions and hospitalities. So I can only welcome even more visitors from the Philippines to Germany. And well, I'm quite sure, and I hope that in the next years the relationship between our two countries will strengthen even more. Traditionally, it's excellent, and I hope that it will strengthen even more in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Mr. Ambassador, and we wish you all the best during your stay here in the Philippines. His Excellency Gordon Kricke, Ambassador of Germany to the Philippines, our most esteemed guest here on Business and Leisure's Embassy Row.